Hey guys, so I'm finally going to go ahead and make some grape jam, and I found a recipe on Pinterest, so I am going to try and do this. I had to freeze my bags that you saw before. This one I actually separated the pulp with the seeds in it because I want to make grape jam and not grape jelly. So I already did all that ahead of time, and then I froze this section in just a small Ziploc, which I put inside as I measured. I make sure I measured the exact quantity that I was going to need for one recipe. So I did separate it before I froze it, and then I froze it, and now I'm pulling it out. I let it thaw overnight, and I'm going to go ahead and attempt to make some grape jam. And so if you want to watch, I will see how it goes. And by the way, this is my very first time canning, so I am excited and terrified at the same time. Anyways, so what the recipe calls for is to go ahead and to cook down the grape pulp, simmer it until it's pretty well dissolved, and mash it a few times, kind of like with the back of a spoon. And then I will be pressing the pulp through a fine mesh strainer to remove the seeds. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Alright, so here I am just trying to simmer down. All the water evaporated, all of the liquid that had been built up from freezing. And now I'm just been mashing, and the seeds are coming out, but it has to go through a strainer, so I'm just keeping it on low. And I just keep squishing it with the back of the spatula, which is working really well actually. And you can see some of the seeds, they're all popping out. So this is what the seeds look like. And the grapes that I'm using, if you haven't looked back, we moved to a couple acres out in Texas in the country, and we have some wild grapes that grow here. They're called Mustang grapes. They're not muscadines because they actually ripen up sooner. Muscadines we do not have, but I get a ton of Mustang grapes. So, I mean, there was so much that we could not even harvest them all this year. But hopefully if I know what I'm doing with them, and in the future years, I'll be able to actually process them and get a lot more out of it. So this is my first year learning how to can. We've only been here a year, so I mean, we moved from the city to the country, and now learning. So I think I'm getting close to the stage where I might be able to push it through a strainer, so we'll see how that goes. So while this has been cooking, I did start preparing my canner, and this is my first time. I found those little racks on Amazon. I actually found a 2-pack, so I was going to buy it was a 1-pack, but I ended up finding a 2-pack for pretty much the same price. So make sure when you're looking, shop around, because you'll find a better deal sometimes. And I also got my pot off Amazon as well. I had been planning to get those like black ones that have the little speckles on it, but when I was reading the information on it, you're not allowed to use them on a flat stove, which is what we have at our house right now. So I went ahead and got a nice, large, heavy stainless steel one. It is very heavy duty. I think it cost me about maybe $60 at the time. And I did get my canning supplies all prepped sort of and ready to go, and I'm trying to show you my whole sink because I was doing dishes but not quite done. But these, I did see a lady online. She said to go ahead and make sure they were all washed, and she suggested just putting some nice hot tap water in it just to keep the jars ready and make sure you have the correct size jar. So the recipe that I found, and I will pin because it's a Pinterest article that I read and got this recipe from. So I will tag her and pin her in my post when I post this. But it says it yields 6 8-ounce jars, so that's what I'm using. And I had the ball, let's see, I found this really cute stuff at, I think, Walmart, and it's 8-ounce jars. So I have a couple packs of these. I have another one, so if I decide to do another set of grapes, but I don't think I was going to do more than one. So anyways, I have some of my supplies ready to go, and the towel, because that's where they go in the end. Let's go ahead and check this one more time. Keep it going because I don't want it to burn. Okay, so I want to note that I felt the need, if you saw the last little clip there, I felt the need to add a little bit of water. I might be making a big mistake, but I'm hoping not, because it just was out of liquid and it was just really getting to, but it's not ready to be like through a fine mesh strainer. So some of these are not, you can see that. That's not going to go through a mesh strainer. So I feel like it needs to just cook down, and in order to do that, I didn't want it to burn. So even though I had it on low, I went ahead and added, it says to simmer, and I think it means like to simmer it on a fairly medium low, maybe something like a medium hot, I don't know, low to medium, something like that maybe, just to keep it really hot, and that way it will still dissolve. So I'm trying to get to the, you know, all of these little pieces so that they will go through a strainer, and then leave the seeds behind. So if I need to add tiny bits of water just to keep it, and that way I can keep cooking it down, and I'll just let it evaporate out once I get to that point. I think that will be okay. You just probably want it to be like an applesauce consistency, but if you have these big chunks still, it's probably not going to go through the strainer, and then you'll be missing on pulp that you need to make the jam. So that's sort of where I'm at with this. I'm just going to keep letting this work. The water's still not boiling. Our stove is not the best stove. We do need a new one. We had it repaired. That's why I had to freeze the grapes in the first place, because this burner had gone out, and it's the only one that's the biggest burner. So yeah, that's, you know, you just do what you got to do. So now I know how to freeze them for future use, and hopefully this all works out. And I have more than enough grapes this go around, even though I did not process everything we had. Do you like my we're gonna redo our kitchen at some point since we moved here, but I did process and freeze the grapes like this, which I'm going to use for grape jelly. And I measured every single bag into 8 cups per bag. So I just did that and froze them all. So I got all the stems off and everything ready to go. So I have several bags in the freezer still. This is the bag that's just the one that I already showed you for this batch. So I'm going to see how the grape jam goes, and then I will maybe be working on some grape jelly as well today. Hey, I just wanted to also mention that this mix and scraper I've had, it's from the Pampered Chef. And I don't sell for them anymore, but I did a long time ago. And I've had this spatula forever and ever. And it's called the Mix and Scraper because it's sort of got like a bowl shape on the end versus the classic scraper, which they do sell as well. But I mean, you could accidentally put this in a cake. It's been done and baked in the oven, and it doesn't melt, and it lasts forever. I actually did finally break down and just ordered a new one from a friend who was having a party, just because we've got a little chunk that got, I don't know if you can see that, kind of got a little chunk missing from the side, started to peel up just because it got stuck in a blender and the blades kind of chopped it by accident, processor. So I did go ahead and order a new one because I absolutely love it, but I've had this one forever, maybe like 10 years. So these things last forever, and if you are at all interested in getting one of these, just, I don't know if you want to use it for canning or for anything really, just let me know. But they're $17, and if you have a friend that's doing a Pampered Chef party, you can buy it from them. If you just don't know who to go to get it, just go ahead and message me, and I have several friends that actually sell it, and I can just put together a quick party with everybody's orders. So anybody that does want it, just let me know. I'll just get some information from you. It's $17, but you do have to pay for shipping, and shipping's usually like $7, I think, depending on where you live, and maybe taxes depending on where you live. So it'll come into about $25 or so if you just buy this only. Anyways, let me know if you do need to or want to buy it. Alright, I'm going to turn this off just so I can talk. So, I pretty much cooked this down. I think I've got most of it. There's a little bit here. But I think I do have most of it, more of a consistency of like applesauce maybe. Anyways, you can see the seeds are mostly out. I've been just mashing and mashing and mashing and mashing. And probably took a lot longer than what I was expecting or what the recipe mentions. So if I were to tell somebody, I would probably let you know that this part, and it may just depend on the grapes that you use, but this process here probably took me a good 45 minutes, I want to say, maybe longer. And I did just slowly add water because it took so long. I just kept adding a little bit of water, and I probably went through 2 cups of water, but I've pretty much let it all evaporate again just so that I don't have the liquid. And I think, you know, I've got it as much as I can possibly get it, so I'm gonna go ahead and try straining it now. So, first time fail, and I just want to share with you and be real that, you know, what I have going on so far is not going through the strainer at all. So it is a fine mesh strainer, and this happens to be Pampered Chef, not that I'm trying to push them or anything, but it does happen to be a Pampered Chef that I have. And my other small strainer, all my strainers are this size. I do have one, but it has 2 meshes that kind of overlap each other, so it's even smaller, so I'm glad I did not use that one. But I'm trying to push this through and it's not going. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is put it back in the pan, thin it out some more so that it's maybe just liquidy, because it's not wanting to go through this strainer. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so I got it to a more of a thinner consistency, and it is somewhat going through this time. Let me see if I can show you. It's pretty hot though, because I got it really hot and boiling. Doesn't look very tasty. And it is really, really, really hot. So I'm going to work on pushing this through. I may have to go back and forth a few times and just keep thinning it a little bit. And then I'm probably going to go ahead and cook it back down a little bit just to evaporate some of that excess water that I just put in it, just to get the mush back before I go ahead and add the peels. Alright, so I decided that I had to hand pick out every single seed because I just kept having the same problem over and over again, and it wasn't thin enough to get it all out. So I finally just went ahead and did that, and now I have a lot of excess water, I guess. It's too liquidy, but I'm gonna go ahead and just cook it down with the peels as the directions said to do. And it says to combine grape skins and filtered pulp, add sugar, and it is a lot of sugar, so just keep in mind that you can, it says use half the sugar amount for a low sugar option, but it does make less jam if you do that. And so it does call for 8 cups of grapes, 6 cups of sugar. That's really all it is. It's a pectin-free. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to the grapes, which I already pulled the grape skins and put them in the pan. And now I'm going to go ahead and combine the pulp. And I'm going to cook this and then add the sugar. So I'm going to cook this down for a little bit and then add the sugar. So I just added the 6 cups of sugar, and holy cow, that's a lot of sugar. But I just wanted to show you it kind of going in. So I did let it boil for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and add the sugar, and then I have to simmer it. The directions say to add the sugar and then bring to a boil over medium heat and cook it for 10 to 15 minutes until much of the juice is evaporated, and then bubbles in the jam begin to change consistency. So that is where I'm going to be heading and trying to see how this plays out, and I will keep you updated. Okay, so I just wanted to give an update and show you that it is boiling and still boiling, and probably because I added all that extra liquid, I'm just gonna let this sit here and cook for a while before I do the test on it. But I wanted to give you an idea of what it looks like right now, just continuing to boil, and I will be back. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys me doing the gel test, and we will see how this goes. So you take a plate and put it in the freezer, and what should happen is that it gels by going slowly down the plate. This might be too fast, but it's been boiling forever and ever and ever. It does look like it's gelling. I think it actually is working. I might have put too big of a droplet on there, but you can see that it's not moving now when I turned it sideways. So I am pretty sure that it is at the point where it is ready. So I've put hot water back in these again just so they can get warmed back up. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take the funnel and go ahead and funnel the jam, leaving, as the recipe calls, a 1/4 inch of just space. Let's see, it's pour into prepared canning jars, leaving 1/4 inch headspace. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then at that point we should be able to process the grape jam in the water bath canner for 10 minutes. So I will be back in a second. Alright, so I am going to go ahead and put the lids on and get them in the water bath canner. Alright, so this is the first time I'm doing this. Sure hope it goes okay. I'm trying to do it with one hand so I can film with the other. So I'm going to just do one. I'll show you when I'm done with the rest. Alright, so now I'm going to let these boil for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to turn the heat off for 5 minutes, and we will see how it goes. Alright, so, oh, did you hear it? You can hear some of them clicking. That means that the seal should be sealing up, which is great. I heard 3 so far, so there should still be 3. But I just pulled them out of the water bath and set them on the towel as instructed. Hoping you guys can hear another click. Oh, there it goes. So that click is supposed to mean that it's sealing properly, which is super exciting. So yeah, aren't these so cute? I'm excited for the first time, and hopefully the gel came perfect, which I think it did. So I think overall, even though this was a big long mission, I think overall I will actually have succeeded. So we will see in a couple days. So I'm gonna wait for a couple days, and you don't have to wait at all because it's going to come up just next in a minute. Thanks for watching this part of it, and stay tuned for the next little bit. Oh, there goes another one. I think I've had 5 so far, so maybe one more. It's probably this one. I don't know if you can see that. You can see the lid. It has a little tiny bubble at the top. I'm trying to get a good angle. It should pop down once it's done. Maybe I'll wait for just a second and see if it does it. This was the last one I pulled out. I don't know how long we would have to wait for, but maybe. Oh, there it goes. Look, it went away. So that little tiny bubble just popped down, and that makes all 6 jars. Awesome. All right, 1 second, and I'll give you an update in a couple days. Hi, so here I am. I am going to actually open the jam that I made the other day, and just to see if it actually worked. Looking at it right now, I mean, I'm just trying to see if I can tell, if you can see that. I mean, it looks like it's set, so I'm hoping that means it's set. And I know that it's sealed because I heard the pops, and you did too. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this to open. First time opening it though, so hopefully I don't have to use, I don't want to break it. I'm just going to try to peel it open. Wow, these are hard to open. I just don't want to break these new jars that I bought. I know that the lids you only use once, so once it comes, I actually have like the plastic ones, you can just store it in the fridge. And so you can buy some little lids that you can just screw on, and they're plastic for the fridge. So I'm going to actually use that once I open this one. I think I might actually have to pop it open. I'm going to try using just the top of the spoon. There it goes. Okay, so I did get it. Alright, so I'm going to taste it and see what I think. Now my husband should be the one doing this. I tried to get him to do it, and he said no. But he's been working all day, and he didn't want to be on a video right now. So actually I'm going to take a good amount out and just show you. It looks great, actually. I don't know if you can see this. It's perfect. Just what you want. Oh my gosh. That was really, really good. I think I'm gonna have to have a sandwich now. This is really good. Babe, it turned out. It is very sugary. It did have a lot of sugar in it and no pectin, so it is very sweet. The recipe did say you can do half sugar, but you get less, so I might try making some next year. I'm trying some with the peels because this is the Mustang grapes. This kind of grape is interesting because you cannot use your fingers. When you cut it off the vines, I mean you can, but if you were to just eat them straight off the vine, many people have a reaction to it. Not a harsh reaction, but many people do have a reaction to it. You also have to be very careful because there are some grapes that mimic the Mustang grapes and they're poisonous. So you have to be very careful, and one of the ways you can check that out is by looking at the seeds inside. So I made sure I waited until they were very ripe, and then I cut it open and looked at the seed just to make sure the seed was not a crescent moon shape. It was the oval, more like the oval, like more of like a, I want to say almost like a corn seed, but you know what I mean. So the crescents are like a half, a crescent moon. And if it's like that, that would mean it's probably a poisonous grape. So stay away from those and enjoy if you can find some Mustang grapes. So I'm just blessed because the property we built, that we moved to on 2 acres, it already had almost all the fences have, and if you look at some of my previous videos, you'll see, but I have quite a few fences that have just tons and tons of these grapes. So many that I just couldn't do it all this year. My husband's gonna be very happy. Anyways, thank you for watching my very long video, and subscribe if you want to see me try and fail sometimes. So I'll post those sometimes too. But keep watching. I have a jelly video that I'm doing, grape jelly too. So this was the very first time I've canned, and I'm very extremely proud of myself. And then grape jelly's up. I just finished that today, but I'll have to wait 24 hours, so watch for that video to come out and see how that turned out as well. What else? I'm not sure what I'm going to can yet. I might have some peppers out there. I might try canning some banana peppers. So keep watching. So I'll try to keep adding some new canning videos as I do them. Gardening videos if you're interested in gardening and seeing the garden. Of course, it's fall now, so I don't know how much gardening stuff I will do for the rest of this year, but I will post when I do. I hope you have a good day. Thank you.